Hey guys, so pretty much I am here to give a review on my experience with 305 plastic surgery and then having surgery with Dr. William. This may be a long, just throwing stuff out there kind of video. I am sorry, this is my first one. Bear with me. And then this will probably be like a part 1 to a part 3 series because I don't want to crowd this video with like too much on recovery and all of that when I'm just giving my review on leading up to pre-op. So this will be part 1, and then you guys will be notified when part 2 is up, so make sure you subscribe. So anyways, I believe I started looking at getting a second round BBL because I already had one before in 2018, and I gained a little bit of weight, and I wanted to, I guess, fix what I messed up and get snatched like how I was in my first round, pretty much. So I started researching on Instagram, and then I found 305 Plastic Surgery. The first surgeon that I saw was Dr. Bass. This was after I had decided not to go with another doctor. I won't mention their name here because I'm just focusing on strictly 305 Plastic Surgery and Dr. Williams. So I will do a separate video to explain why I did not go to that person. So I contacted, it was a surgery blog, it was a surgery blog that I had reached out to, and they told me about Dr. Bass. I went to look at his work, the late Dr. Bass, and I actually saw Dr. William, and I was like, wow, I like this guy because my first round gave me a nice butt, and I did not want any more butt, so I wanted hips and curves, and I wanted fat that was left over from round 1 taken out. So I noticed that Dr. William was really doing good with round 2s. So that's who I decided to go to. Once I decided to pick Dr. William, I actually started to research. I reached out through I believe I filled out the form or something like that, and someone reached out to me through text message. I thought that was kind of odd, but it's Miami. They're known for being the surgery capital. So I said, I guess this is the norm. They had me send pictures from the front and the side, the back, and the other side. And then they told me that I was a good candidate for surgery or whatever, and I had to pay a deposit. The deposit was like $500. What they did was send me a link to my email into my phone, and I could click into that and actually pay through there. So pretty much I booked, and I think I was booked for, I want to say it was April, and that's during that time was when COVID kicked off. So it was March, and April was, I think they were canceling April appointments because of COVID. So I was rescheduled for June 11th. I actually called them myself, I think, and said I need to get rescheduled because I think the COVID stuff is gonna close everything down. So thank God I did, because a lot of girls was pushed back a year or so. So they pushed me back with no problem. Now when it came to communicating, I'm not going to lie, 305 plastic surgery, they were lacking a little bit with the communicating. But I started picking up on certain patterns. So I noticed if they emailed me about something, hey, go have this form filled, or hey, here's your paperwork for your labs, go get your labs done, I would send them 3 questions right away to the phone that they would text me on, and then I would email too. So someone would see it and they would contact me usually within 3 days. So, or in Claudia, I think she schedules his no, she manages the surgeries. So when you get your surgery scheduled, she manages all your paperwork kind of thing. So Claudia, I don't know if she started remembering my name or whatever, but she would reach out to me when I would contact her. So it worked out for me. It wasn't a direct response or a quick response, but I mean, I know that once I sent something, they would reach out within 3 days. So that worked for me. Outside of that, let me see. Okay. So when it was time to actually get to the appointment at 305 Plastic Surgery. When I landed, I got a text message from Claudia, and she was giving me my pre-op time the day prior to pre-op. And I don't even remember what time. I think it was like 12 or 1 or something like that. I went up there, and you had to wear masks because, like I said, this was during COVID, like when it was really bad. So I went up, and when I went up, I actually was like, oh, this is why they don't communicate, because yes, it's a lot of them, but they are so busy, like so busy. They're helping, like everyone's helping out, everyone's running around. But I was surprised to see that it was still so organized with how busy that it was. But pretty much when I first got there, they just asked me my name and gave me some paperwork to fill out. Before I could even sit down, they were calling me into the back. There was a really nice lady. She was really tall, slim, and she kept saying like, no, mommy, yes, mommy, when it came to the paperwork. So she actually once I was done doing my paperwork, she like looked it over, made some corrections, like had me correct things, and then she took me into the bathroom and had me urinate in a cup, but she waited outside. I did that, but I came up hot. Wait, I'm skipping steps. I'm so sorry, I'm skipping steps. Actually, when they called me to the back with the paperwork, I went straight to see Dr. William, and he had his mask on, and he was sitting in his little desk, and his little nurse was on the side, and he was super nice. He's blunt, but I prefer that from people, but he's really nice. So he had me get undressed, and then he looked at my body. He was like, you had a really good BBL your first round. He said, but I could see why you coming back. You know, your hips, they're not there, so I can round your hips are really good. You don't need any more butt, so we won't focus on that. We will just focus on getting, you know, you shaped up nice. And I was like, well, I said, will you get the fat from under here? Because I feel like my first round doctor left a lot of fat under my boob area. Like it was so noticeable because I was so snatched, and like you could just tell that there was still fat up here and fat in my upper back. So he was like, no worries, I'm gonna take care of all of that. And he was like, you have this weird fat under your butt on the sides, I'll take that out and yeah, I'll fix you. From me seeing his work, like I wanted the OG line. He was like, what do you want? I was like, I want the OG line. Like I want curves and hips. So he was like, okay, I got you, whatever. And that was pretty much it as far as the BBL. But I was also getting a breast augmentation. And he said, he's so blunt. He said, I won't do it unless you're willing to do a lift with the breast implants because your nipples sit so low and it won't look right. Honestly, I would not have cared if he just put the implant in there with my nipples sitting low, because who's gonna see that besides me and my man? And they don't even sit that low. I think he's just a perfectionist. I agreed. Now, usually he doesn't do a BBL and breast lift and implants and all of that together, but because I did not have much fat, I wasn't going to be a hard BBL. He was willing to do it. So I was like, let me just go ahead and knock this out. When that was done, I pretty much got back dressed, and then I was finishing the paperwork while I was going through the process. So they have like a hallway, like when you come out from his little office, you go to the left, and then there's a hall, and there's girls sitting. They had us scattered because of COVID. You sit, and then there's a nurse that comes out, and she has you go into the bathroom to use it so they could test like for pregnancy, for drugs, things like that. And so when I peed, I did pop up hot for tobacco. So, well, nicotine, same stuff, I guess. And unfortunately, if you have any type of nicotine in your system, they will cancel a breast augmentation, because the chances of your skin, like your nipple and stuff, dying when they cut it off is very high. So I'm glad that they canceled me. And I had nicotine in my system from smoking hookah. Very dumb, but obviously it wasn't meant for me to get it. So after that, the lady was like, mommy, you have nicotine in your system. And I was like, I don't smoke cigarettes. And she's like, hookah? I was like, oh, yes. So I was like, oh my God, they're about to cancel me because this girl, I seen this girl in the hallway and she was screaming and flipping out because she smokes weed and she smokes marijuana, and she uses, like, I guess the paper she uses has nicotine in it, and it popped up. And she was not with Dr. Williams, she was with another doctor, and he counseled on her. And I was like, oh man, like they're about to cancel. She was like, no, Dr. William will take you if you have a little bit of nicotine in your system, but you gotta sign this waiver saying that you know the risk of it, because you know, cutting, like, I guess the blood flow into your skin and stuff. So I signed off on that. And then that was pretty much, they told me they were gonna give me a call, not a call, they told me they were gonna text me with my surgery time before the end of the day, and to not have anything to drink after 12 o'clock. So that was pretty much it. Finished the paperwork. I paid them or whatever. I paid with a card, and then I left. So I went to the recovery house. I'm gonna definitely do a review on that too. And I was just pretty much just waiting, and I got a text from Claudia saying, like, the time my surgery was, I believe, like 11:30 or 12. So that would have made me probably, I think he had like 2 big surgeries. I think I was the 3rd girl. I believe I was the 3rd girl. And then my surgery sister was right after me. And then I believe it was another girl after that, but I could be wrong. So pretty much they told me, like, hey, you know, your surgery is at this time. Make sure, you know, you don't drink after a certain time. Make sure you use the antibacterial soap, the Dow soap. And come with a gown that buttons or zips in the front with nothing under, some sliding shoes, and that was pretty much it. So got ready that night, whatever, did follow the instructions. I took it was a pre-surgery drink. I'll have to like list it in the comments or in the description, but I took that before the time frame for me to stop taking stuff. And woke up the next day. It was my time for surgery. Took another shower with the Dow soap, dried off, whatever. Didn't put on no oil, no lotion, no nothing, and went straight there. Pretty much when I got there, they took me to the back and they had me get undressed and get on the little gown and stuff and get this little blue thing over my hair, like a net. And then they tested me again and told me again, like, hey, you have nicotine in your system, sign this waiver again and let us know that you're okay with performing surgery and you have nicotine in your system. So I had to sign off on that again, sign off on more paperwork. Then Dr. William came in and he was like in such a good mood. He was like, like with everything he said. He pretty much marked me up. And he kept mentioning, like, girls hate my incisions because they're in certain areas, but I really need to use those. I really need to have those incisions there so I could be able to get out all the fat, you know, and reach all the fat without stretching your other holes. Because if he just, you know, use the holes at the bottom, he'll be stretching them trying to go at the top. So that was a good explanation, but he cracked a kind of like a joke that because my first surgeon put so many lipo holes into me, he was like, I guess I could just pick whichever one I want. I was like, I started laughing. He was like, I'm shocked that you're laughing about it because girls are usually upset with my lipo hole placements. I said, at this point, I don't even care, just place them. So he pretty much just marked me up. He asked me what I wanted done again. He mentioned how I did not need any more butts. Then he put me up against the wall. It was the blue wall that you guys see the girls standing in front of all the time. He took my pictures or whatever, had me turn to the side, the back, and forward again. And like while he was doing that, his nurse was taking the pictures or whatever. And that was pretty much it. He asked me if I had any questions. I said no, because I was, you know, this isn't my first rodeo. I was just ready to knock it out. Like when you go into surgery, I feel like you should be so confident in the surgeon that you chose that you, nope, let's go, let's get this out the way. So he left, and then his anesthesiologist, Frankie, came in. Frankie is so nice, and he makes you feel so comfortable. So he pretty much put this little, I don't even know what it was. I don't know what that was. It was some clear liquid, If you know, put it in the comments. But he hooked it up to my vein, and he had me sitting there for a while. He left. Then he came back. I don't know what he was doing. He left, but he came back. He was like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready." He's like, "You have any questions?" "No questions. Like, let's get this out." And he was like, "Man, I like you. You're straight to the point." So he has me grab the little thing, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna take you to the surgery room. You have to get on the table yourself and lay down." I was like, "All right, no problem." And so we go up in the surgery room. Oh wait, I think did he take it out my arm? No, I don't think he did. Because I kept saying it was uncomfortable. Like, wherever it was uncomfortable. And he kept apologizing. So, anyways, so the waiting room was here. The surgery room was here. And I was walking in, and there was a nurse. She was covered up with, like all of her face and stuff. She was still, like, you know, cleaning and moving stuff around. Like, it was clean in there or whatever. And then he was like, "All right, get on the table." So I was like, "Oh, wow, I have to climb on this thing myself." So I like climb on the table and I lay down, and I seen a drop of blood somewhere. It didn't make me panic because the room was so clean, and I think that's why I went straight to that one little tiny drop of blood. But when I was like, "Oh my God, there's blood on the floor. Like, why is there blood on the floor?" Because I'm thinking like they were gonna put me on the table and take me somewhere else. Like, that was stupid. But as soon as I saw it, the lady, she started cleaning it with like some stuff, whatever. So once I got on the table, they strapped my arms in. So I was like this, like strapped down. And then he was like, "Okay, I'm going to give you something to relax you." So I'm like, "Is it going to put me to sleep?" And he was like, "No, it's not going to put you to sleep. It's just going to relax you." Well, as soon as he put it in, I kept saying like, "Hey, is it going to put me to sleep though?" Like, I was so curious. And he was like, "No, it's not going to put you to sleep." And then I was out. So Frankie, you lied to me, because you actually did put me to sleep. And after that, I just remember waking up in a white room, and that's where you will get part 2 at. So I hope you guys enjoyed my review on 305 plastic surgery. When it comes down to it, the pros was that I do like the fact that the staff is really nice. They're busy, so they don't communicate too well through phone and email when like leading up to your appointment. But like once you actually get there and see how busy they are, like I don't know, I guess I'm an understanding person, but I understood why. So I was like, okay, now I get it. Dr. Wayne was very pleasant, very nice, straight to the point. He will tell you what he can and cannot do. And he doesn't like wish pictures, so I didn't take any. I don't want to look like someone else. I want to look like myself. But overall, I really like the clinic. I really love my surgeon. I loved Frankie. And I liked the staff, the nurses. They were really, really sweet. And they have this thing where they say love, love, like, or mommy, they do that a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much my review for 305 and then Dr. William. And part 2 would be me talking about like me waking up from surgery and my experience with how my body reacted, things like that. Part 3 would possibly be me talking about my surgery, my recovery over time. And then I probably would add in my review on my recovery house, or make that like a separate video or something. But pretty much I'm going to be doing this series for a while, like different reviews on things and like educational points for surgery. So I hope you guys tune in, and I hope you guys subscribe and continue to watch, because there's some great information coming your way. Thank you.